We are going to discuss today why American people are so rich and still their people are not happy and they're sleeping on the street. What is the reason behind that? So rich country, so developed country, so powerful country, and what is wrong with them? What is going wrong in that? Let's see.
A year. That's what the average American needs to earn to feel financially secure. However, in 2021, the average American worker earned only $75,203 for the year.
How nervous are Americans about their savings? A new survey reveals most are living paycheck to paycheck.
It's not just low income or middle class families. High income families are living paycheck to paycheck too.
A Bankrate survey revealed that the average American citizen says they need to earn at least 3 times more than what they currently make to be financially secure, as over 72% of Americans do not feel financially secure with their current finances, and more than a quarter of Americans believe they are unlikely to ever feel financially secure.
Nearly half of Americans are now worried about their savings, more worried now than they were a year ago, according to a new poll by Bankrate.com about consumers' financial security, or these days, insecurity.
The numbers show that after the pandemic, Americans' finances have improved, their debt is lower, and their savings are higher. However, they still worry about their job security or whether they will be able to have a secure retirement in the future. With nearly 61% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, many can't even cover their basic needs.
About 40% of those surveyed are having trouble paying for things like housing, food, and health care. This despite a growing economy and low national unemployment rate.
This is the reality for millions of people in the United States. So if you feel financially insecure, you are not alone. So, why are so many Americans living paycheck to paycheck? And what can you do about it? Let's create a budget. In 2023, the estimated monthly income for a full-time worker is $4,400. However, the worker receives only 75.2% of that income after taxes and benefits, which reduces it to $3,308, and that's currently not enough to live in the United States. The cost of basic services and goods such as healthcare, education, and the cost of buying a house has skyrocketed in recent years, but wages have not kept up.
Energy costs reaching multi-year highs, leaving consumers to pay the price. The skyrocketing prices impacting heating bills and prices at the pump.
Let's take an example with some of the most common expenses for Americans. The average monthly rent in the United States is $2,029, which represents more than 46% of the average American's pre-tax income. Meanwhile, the average mortgage payment for a 2,400 square foot house is $1,957 per month. However, a common rule suggests spending 28% or less of your pre-tax income on mortgage payments. For median gross monthly incomes, that translates to just $1,232. Currently, rent or mortgage payments represent the top financial concern for Americans under 40. Factors like inflation and rising interest rates have led to uncertainty about whether they can afford housing next month.
Home prices are shattering records, especially in smaller cities. Buyers can barely afford to blink or risk losing the house they want.
Housing prices in North Texas have gone up. Are you ready for this? 130% in the last decade.
Cities like San Francisco, New York, and Southern California are known for being more expensive, and Americans are aware of this.
New York City has passed San Francisco as the most expensive city in the U.S. to rent an apartment. Zumper says it's the first time New York City has topped the list since 2014.
Nearly a quarter of the American population believes they would need at least $1 million in assets to feel financially secure in these cities. That's why in recent years, there has been a significant migration to less expensive states like Mississippi, Kansas, or Alabama. On average, Americans spend $690.75 on food each month, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This, combined with average health expenses of $96.42 per month, results in a total expense of $2,816.17 for renters and $2,744.17 for homeowners. In other words, over 85% of Americans' income after taxes goes to essential expenses. This excludes other essential expenses like transportation, childcare, and debt payments. Many Americans are feeling the impact of rising living costs, food, and housing. Utilities, car insurance, and homeowners insurance continue to increase in price, making it increasingly difficult to save money.
Property insurance rates in Florida are predicted to jump at least 40% this year, according to the Insurance Information Institute.
Budget experts advise Americans to spend only 50% of their net income on needs, 30% on wants, and 20% on savings or debt repayment. We see that the allocation changes significantly, with people spending 75% of their available income on needs, leaving very little for wants and savings for their financial future. Therefore, depending on where you live and your income, many Americans really can't meet that target allocation. Another major factor driving up prices is interest rates. Over a third of Americans said that increases in interest rates have made them feel financially uncomfortable, and they're right.
The Fed has raised its key interest rate yet again to the highest level in 16 years. While this is a strategy to counter inflation, some fear the increasing interest rates are doing more harm than good to the economy.
Since March 2022, the Federal Reserve has implemented 11 interest rate hikes to combat inflation, hindering the affordability of various products and services, with housing purchases at the top of the list. For example, if you bought a $375,000 house in 2021, your monthly payments would have been around $2,000, while now you'd pay close to $3,400 per month for the same house. These increases have not only been seen in the housing market, but also in cars and credit cards, where even for people with perfect credit scores, interest rates are as high as 20.5%, reaching up to 30% for those with lower credit scores. Credit cards have become indispensable among Americans, even breaking historical debt records.
Credit card debt in the U.S. has reached a staggering record high, topping $1 trillion for the first time. This, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, as millions of cardholders carry balances month after month, year after year.
1 in 3 Americans claims to have more credit card debt than savings in their bank account. In a study, Experian revealed that the average American owes $96,371 in credit card, mortgage, and auto loan debt. This is because the average salary in the United States simply doesn't cover basic household needs, forcing people to take on debt. This, coupled with the increasing difficulty in accessing credit, has made people unable to feel secure about their finances, preventing them from saving significant sums of money, or, in other words, living paycheck to paycheck.
If you're financially stressed, you're not alone. A new CNBC Your Money survey finds 74% of Americans are stressed about their personal finances. That's up from 70% in our April report conducted by SurveyMonkey. And 37% of respondents say they're very stressed.
The fact that many Americans are in this situation shows that it's not an isolated case. However, debt is a way to channel some of our financial resources, and it can be a very effective tool when used correctly. American households are the mainstay of the country's economy, so public policies are needed to improve the economic prospects of Americans, as the economy is anchored to consumer spending. The inclusion of Social Security policies is also of vital importance, as it forms the basis of financial security for retirees and, in many cases, is the only source of income that prevents older people from falling into poverty.
Monthly Social Security checks are set to increase. Now, on average, it'll come out to an additional $140 every month for recipients, the largest increase in 40 years. But with inflation burning through our cash more than ever, many elderly people in our area say it's just not enough.
Employers also play a significant role in this, as they should ensure that employees have access to retirement savings opportunities or emergency savings, as well as the ability to enroll in benefits such as health insurance, life insurance, or disability insurance. Millions of people are struggling to make ends meet today, and this figure is on the rise, meaning that it's a growing problem. The fact that many Americans live in financial insecurity poses a significant risk to the economy as a whole. If measures aren't taken to improve the financial condition of American households, it will eventually affect us all.
So rich country, see, what is the economy? Very painful. Anyway, I don't understand one thing that why People are not happy, they have a problem. Why the government of USA spending money like a water for the other country? They should spend that money for their citizen, for their people. Why they're spending, you know, their taxpayer money like a water? Let's see.
US has been giving billions of dollars per year to countries all over the world. There are political reasons for this. Special interests are able to engage in their businesses behind the scenes. Ultimately, you as the taxpayer are paying the bills. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today, a quick video to talk about what countries receive the most foreign aid from the United States. And you will see familiar names on this list, of course, but what is very interesting to me is the total quantity of money that these countries get. But this is on an annual basis. And it's so shocking to me to think for a second that these countries that receive $1 billion or more, they should be able to pay for any of their needs with that amount. But it goes into a black hole. That's what I wanted to explain. Let's look at the list here. You'll see, again, familiar names, but what's interesting to me is number 3 on this list. A country that, on an annual basis, receives billions of dollars, but it's not like number 1 and 2 in this list, who need to rebuild infrastructure. That's not occurring. So I believe that this is going in to fund operations, and we know that, what it is. It's just, I believe at some point we need to start asking questions. Why that's the case. Look at all the countries in this list. To me, number 3 stands out. I'll leave the rest up to you. Looking at the bottom of the screen here, you will see that the total budget for US aid in 2016 is $36 billion. There have been many reports that with just a fraction of this money, that poverty could be eradicated globally. And yet $36 billion a year goes out to who knows what. We don't know all the details. I'm sure some of it goes to the right causes, but probably a very, very small fraction of it. And along the way, the bureaucracy gets in the way and takes from all of the people who really need it. If it was actually going to the people who need it, this would be okay. But it's not. It really isn't. And therefore, as far as I'm concerned, there shouldn't be any foreign aid. I'll get more into that in a moment. Now, there is one department that takes a lot of the funds from the US, and that's very evident. And I can't say it, but here it is. $639 billion. That's insane. And that's not including, the full budget. That's just what they tell us. We know that it costs trillions of dollars a year to do what they're doing in these countries right now. Trillions. When you add it all up, all factors included, the healthcare costs and everything else, when you factor everything in, it's amazing. It's truly a sight to behold. And as far as I'm concerned, it's just going to get worse over the next few years. Now look at this. Foreign aid tends to follow deployments. So first, send the bribes in, and then your friends can go in and be deployed. Send the bribes in, allow the deployment. That is something so interesting to me. It's so obvious where the money goes. Doesn't go to food, doesn't go to shelter, doesn't go to clean water. It goes to this. The bureaucracy, the administration, everybody else is all making some good funds off of all of this, and it's sad to say the least. There's more in here, but I think I made my point for that. I'll keep it short. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up and let me know what you think. I'm interested to see your comments below. Of course, I am the YouTuber that replies to more people than anybody. So I just want to let you know that I do appreciate the things that you say, whether it's